This is Emmy-nominated rapper, actor, slash the greatest of all times, T.O.N.E's, and you checking out Dispatch Radio.
All right, with me on the phone now is Austin Basis from the CW's hit show, Beauty and the Beast. They had just won a 2014 People's Choice Award. Actually, I think they won two. And we got a chance to talk to him about his character, about the show, and just one of my favorite shows. So, Austin, how are you, my friend?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for fitting us in, and congratulations on another People's Choice Award. And tell us a little bit about where we are on the show. The last episode, I know, Vincent's kind of out there, and he's this war hero now, and that kind of thing. Is that sort of something the fans are well receiving, or is it kind of they kind of like the cloak and dagger approach to the early episodes?
Well, now he's open with his the fact that he's alive, and that we think this evil government organization of Muirfield has been disbanded and done with. That he could be out there as a human being living, and he just passes off his memory loss to amnesia and what's happened the past 10 years. So he comes in as a war hero, but the fact that he's a beast has not been revealed yet, and is still that cloak and dagger type thing where now that he is in the public eye, he becomes more vulnerable, because what if he beasts out, and what if he gets caught in an interview, and is asked questions that pin him into a corner where he doesn't know how to respond because he's hiding that he's a beast. It also, I think, puts him up in a public light to be as a target for other beasts that may be out there, or people that are connected with Muirfield to hunt him down, or because they don't know he's a beast, but if they do their research and they've done the NSA type stuff that Muirfield had done, and then they could find out some stuff about him that could again make him vulnerable to the same dangers he was vulnerable to when he was in hiding.
Your character, J.T. Forbes, being the professor and one of Vincent's friends and that kind of thing, has really been kind of a great supporting aspect to this character's development and changes. And what is the thing about the character that you really have enjoyed the most?
What I enjoy most about JT is the fact that he has been as loyal as he has been to his best friend. And I think they think of each other as brothers at this point, through thick and thin. And he's had this weight on his shoulders, this guilt from years past, feeling responsible for Vincent becoming a beast, that has driven him, which is always, I think, a good built-in part of any character, to have that driving force underneath everything. It's only been revealed recently, but I, as an actor, have had that from the beginning with the writers. We knew that was the case, and the question was when and how it would be revealed. And the other part of it, that he deals with all this tension in a very sarcastic, almost cynical little way, definitely a little pessimistic and neurotic, but I think he has that energy, that humor is the best defense against stupidity and negative emotions and negative tension. So he's always quick with a line of levity, not necessarily to make himself laugh, but to deal with the crazy circumstances that have befallen him.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about the sense of humor as a defense mechanism, and JT's wit and those kinds of things as sort of a comedic element to Beauty and the Beast. And is that an aspect of your personality in real life? Is that something that is easy for you to tap into, or is that something that as the writers do that, it's sort of like fluid? Sometimes it changes and that kind of thing to get the right fit.
No, I like to think that that's part of why I was cast, and what drew me to the character initially. As an actor, you read a lot of scripts, and there are certain scripts that you tend to have to act more and to make more choices that draw you a little bit away from who you are. You want to always bring yourself to every role, but you can't always fit who you are into every role. So, but when you get a script, I think that you relate to, that you when you read the lines and how they think and how they talk and what they say, you get a sense that it's either similar or natural to you as a person, that you could kind of dive right in and not have to do the work on that aspect of the character. You just have to convince yourself of the circumstances the character's in. And I think that's the case with JT and myself. I have that sense of humor. I relate to his sense of humor. My sense of humor in particular is not necessarily as negative and pessimistic, but I do have a deadpan type of humor that's a little more fun-loving than JT. He's a little... He has his fun-loving moments, but for the most part, it's kind of, he's a little bit of a misanthrope. Which is fun because that's the part that's not me. I get to use my humor in a character that's just a little more negative and nervous and tense than I am, and that's. I think that's just a challenge and a fun challenge, but it's fun to get to be as sarcastic and witty as he is, because I'm not necessarily as witty, but or as smart, but I do have that same kind of humor.
We're talking to Austin Basis from the CW's Beauty and the Beast. He's selling his sense of humor short right about now in our talks, but that's okay. We're going to let him go. The whole backstory of Vincent's condition and the experimentation, DNA mutation, all this stuff. Do you have a science consultant through this process, or how do they make sure that you have something that you feel and you can get your head around and you're comfortable with the believability?
Well, I think Jennifer Levin was a doctor or went to medical school. So whenever they do any type of thing that refer to, like human biology, she's, I think, the go-to person that advises. And I think a lot of the stuff they use is not general knowledge, but is out there somewhere on some website or, in some book form where you fact check the stuff. The only times we've had some medical techs on site is when we'd have to do a medical procedure. Like there was an episode when JT does his confession and he puts in the IV in Vincent's arm. There was a med tech on site so that whatever he was doing with his bullet wound and whatever I was doing with the IV and the blood transfusion was the proper procedure and etiquette. And so that was a difficult thing for me, because it was kind of a last minute thing. I was working on my lines, the scene, and then I have to also learn a medical procedure in the time that we have a couple minutes before we shoot the scene. And so when I was doing something wrong, or if I was doing something wrong, it was fairly simple. So she took me down the whole routine. And in general, when we have like science tech stuff to do, I grew up with diabetes, so I'm familiar with like needles and doctors and stuff. And I have my uncle's a nurse, so I've always been around doctors and a couple friends who are doctors. so it's not a foreign thing to me to work with needles, syringes, and to be in a science lab, because I took science growing up and in college, and so those kind of things come a little more naturally to me. When I have to do some really modern, innovative kind of next level DNA type stuff, we have a great props team. Mary is the prop master, but Rowena is the on-set person that whenever there's a new instrument or stuff that I have to do as JT on set, on camera, and make it look like I'm a professional, she has the prop, but she also, teaches me what to do with, the centrifuge or whatever prop that I'm using, DNA analyzer, and to understand how it works so that I don't look like I'm, working with a machine that I've never seen before.
We don't want you over there just playing around with the vortex. We want you to actually look like you know what you're doing, Austin.
Exactly. It's like if this was Stargate, I could be opening up a whole.
It's like a wormhole, but Beauty and the Beast went too sci-fi, right? It's got some sort of wormhole thing going on over there. We thought we were just drawing blood, but Austin, I don't know what he was doing. Yeah. All right.
Crossover episode.
Yeah, there we go. Tell me what it's like to work with Jay Ryan and in this whole thing.
Well, Jay is, I think, an actor like myself who always is, searching for the truth and trying to do the best work possible and to be as truthful and real as possible. And he has a little more of a challenge because JT comes from a little more of a solid base of reality, whereas as Vincent, Jay's role is a character who has to deal with something that he has no experience or no person could have any experience dealing with. So he has to treat his the beast side of his personality as something similar in his own life, or however he works to believe those circumstances and to play it as if it's real. And I think the arc of his character from last season to this season is testament to his acting skills, because we were introduced to a Vincent last season that was in hiding for 10 years, that was damaged, that had this secret and this darkness to him, but also this yearning to reach out and to connect with Catherine and to be loved and to love someone, and also to protect them, because that's his initial instincts. Even when he was just human, he was always, his initial instincts was to protect people as a doctor, as a fireman. And then to see that transition into being kidnapped by Muirfield after 3 months of brainwashing, to come back and everyone's like, I don't recognize Vincent. Of course you don't recognize Vincent, because he was brainwashed and he turned into a killing machine, like a hitman, basically, a beast hitman. And so to see him now in these next few episodes that the audience is going to see how he's coming back to himself and struggling with this world where he's made a beast, then he found his humanity in Catherine, and then he was brainwashed into this killing machine, and he's fighting back to, I think, find his way back to Catherine, and to play that as an actor and to literally be unrecognizable to an audience. I don't know if they realize that is what he's doing as an actor and what the writers have been doing, and as a show we've been doing, and hopefully ultimately he will be more recognizable, and you'll remember the Vincent of old, because his humanity is now coming back, is starting to come back and creep into who he is.
Well, we're hoping to hear word on season 3. We're hoping that the Beauty and the Beast will get picked up for season 3. No word yet, right, Austin? We haven't heard anything yet. Last I read was they were telling us May. They were going to give us an announcement possibly in May. Yeah, we don't know anything, right? No inside scoop?
No inside scoop. I know we're doing, actually pretty well in international markets in Brazil and France, and places like the UK and South Africa. We have fans all over the world that are supporting us and have supported us through the People's Choice voting and through other online polls and just in general an online presence. And I think that combined with the rating system is I feel a little outdated, and the CW audience, and I think Mark Pedowitz, the president, knows that the audience on the CW watches the shows, and the what the CW has to offer is more spread out across the different medias, whether it's online, on DVR, on TV, or on your iPhone, iPad. So all those things are being taken into account, and hopefully when the chips fall and they get counted in the end of the year and they're balancing what their new shows are, our passionate fandom and kind of scope across the world is counted as much as some shows succeed in the States and don't succeed anywhere else. So I have hope, and I believe it until the last minute, until like anything else, one of my hashtags is don't stop BAT believing, and I encourage the fans to keep hope and to keep watching live, and because that's important too, and to keep showing their love for the show online and in their cities and towns across the world.
All right, we've been talking with Austin Basis about The Beauty and the Beast from the CW. It airs here on the East Coast at 9 p.m. on Mondays. You can check that out live, and as he said, and I'm guilty, I watch it mostly I watch everything online, but you know what? We're hopeful that we'll hear a season 3 is coming, and we really appreciate all of his insight on the show and his characters and how the characters have already evolved and a little bit on what's coming. Austin, thank you again for fitting us into your busy schedule, and I hope that we'll talk again soon after we hear how season 3 has been renewed, right?
Yeah, definitely. Thank you.
All right.
It was my pleasure, and thanks for having me again.
All right, take care. Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you again, guys.